Guys, welcome back to yet another episode of the PS2 Collector, episode 47. And guys, wow, this episode today is going to be a special one because last week I went to the video game market in Sheffield. And guys, when I say that this convention was stacked full of great games, it had games from the PS2 era, PS1 era, the SNES era, Mega Drive games, Dreamcast games, GameCube games, Switch games, whatever games you can think of from any console, they had it. And I managed to pick up a couple of games from both Europe and Japan. And on this episode as well, I'm going to share some accessories and console that I bought from this convention. And that is something, guys, that you do not want to miss. Stay tuned. So let's start off with game number 316, and it's a fighting game, and it only came out in Europe and Japan as well as Australia, and that is Deadly Strike. Now this game is a fighter. You get to choose between 6 characters, but this game's not fun whatsoever. I've got to keep it real because it's just too repetitive. The characters are bland. The graphics for its time is severely outdated. And I'm thinking, as a fighting game, you must leave an impression. This left no impression whatsoever. And you can tell it was a budget title because you can tell with budget title games, they do a lot of shortcuts. And if you do a lot of shortcuts, especially in that era, you won't be successful. And unfortunately, Midas did not do Deadly Strike justice. The idea was right, the execution was just ridiculously bad. And guys, if you do enjoy fighting games, and forget fighting games, but if you do enjoy crap fighting games, this game might be just for you. But for me, avoid at all costs. I know in North America you did not get this game. Be glad that you didn't, because us Europeans had to suffer with so many crap budget titles. It was ridiculous. And that's game number 316, Deadly Strike. Alright guys, so on to the next game, game number 317. And this game, I got the Japanese version of it, and that is Phantom Kingdom, also known as Makai Kingdom Chronicles of the Sacred Tomb. Now, with Japanese games, as you know, I can't play it on a European PS2 and I can't play it on a North American PS2. I can only play it on a Japanese console or a modded PS2 console that's region free. But back to the game, this game is a tactical RPG, and me personally, I've got to admit right now, I don't enjoy tactical RPGs whatsoever, but I do know there's a huge fan of this genre. And I've got to say, when I spoke to the guy in Sheffield, he told me that this game was really popular in Japan as well as North America. People enjoyed the gameplay, the humorous dialogue, as well as its actually in-depth detail when it comes to tactical RPGs. So this game was absolute success. But for me, I'm not a tactical RPG guy, but if you are watching, you might be. Give this game a go. Give this game a go, because I've heard some good reviews, especially at the market, some good praise for this game. And guys, that's game number 317, Phantom Kingdom. Guys, so on to the next game, game number 318. Now I've got to say, this was an ambitious game, not gonna lie, and that is Hidden Invasion. When I first looked at the box art, it reminded me of Oni, but this game is nowhere near Oni when it comes to gameplay, because this gameplay is absolutely bad. Because you got to understand, they tried something ambitious, but they executed it really bad. They tried to implement 2 genres into one. So on this occasion, they tried to implement first-person shooter, not first-person shooter, but third-person shooter as well as a beat-em-up. It's not gonna work, especially in that era with that minimum budget. It is not gonna work, and it absolutely sure, because the gameplay was stiff. The animations were horrible, the graphics were a bit clunky, it was repetitive, but I had a bit of fun, I've got to admit. Put it in the other day, gave it a quick play, and yeah, it is a fun game, but it's all over the place. If they had a bit more budget, if they had a bit more time and polished it, it could have been much better, but it just did not get the respect that it deserved. And on many occasions on the PS2, tight deadlines denied games from being great. This game had a huge potential of being that, but unfortunately it failed. And guys, if you do enjoy beat 'em ups as well as a third-person shooter, or if you can't decide to get a third-person shooter or a beat 'em up, this game is absolutely for you. And guys, that's game number 318, Hidden Invasion. Alright guys, so on to the next game, game number 319, and that is a movie-based tie-in game called The Fast and the Furious, developed by Namco. Now I've got to say right off the bat, this is my personal opinion. If you disagree with it, leave in the comments below. I think that this game is too similar to Need for Speed Underground. I've just got to say it. Someone's got to say it. The soundtrack in this game is quite decent. However, the gameplay is just lacking something. It's just lacking that extra polish, if that makes sense. It's too generic. If they try to differentiate itself to Need for Speed, it could have been its own thing. But the issue is the Need for Speed franchise and the Fast and Furious franchise are too similar. I can say right now, if you put Need for Speed and this game side by side, you have to be an enthusiast to decide if are these the same game or are they completely two different games. But I'll let you decide about that. But this game is quite decent, solid racer, but not as great as Need for Speed. If it had more time, more polish, more budget, it could have been a decent, now dare I say, a franchise of its own. But unfortunately, that never came into fruition. And guys, if you do enjoy street racing, if you do enjoy games similar to Need for Speed Underground, Underground 2, give The Fast and the Furious a go, because it's a very underrated game, and that's game number 319. Yeah, so on to the next game, game number 320, and I think this is one of the best Hulk games of all time, and that is The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Guys, on the PS2 there was 3 Hulk games. We got one absolute disaster, one decent, and one that showed what a Hulk game was meant to be, and that was this game right here. What a game. I like the way that you can use the environment as a weapon, and the open world. And this is what I like, the open world to show Hulk's power. Guys, what else can I say? This game is amazing. The story is very good, it's in depth, the gameplay is vast. You never get bored, and it shows how truly powerful the Hulk is and was meant to be. I know there's been other Hulk games, but they were level by level, but this game lets you do free roam. That's what I enjoy. Free roam and destroy your enemies at your peril. And guys, if you've not played this game before, please do, because I think that this is the best Hulk game of all time. And arguably, don't forget that, I think it's up there with the greatest superhero films, not films, but game of all time. And this was not even a movie-based tie-in game. This was just thrown out there, had time, was polished, and there was no deadlines whatsoever. And this is what I mean, when you let the developers do what they want, you get great things, and this was one of them. And guys, that's game number 320, The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction. Yeah, so on to the next game, game number 321, and this game definitely brought back the 1980s nostalgia, and that is Knight Rider the game. So this game is based on the 1980s very popular series called Knight Rider, and in this game you control the car called Kit. And I've got to say, this game is a bit of a disappointment. It's a mixed bag. It looks decent, like the fact that it sticks to the original source. However, the game is very short in length and the gameplay is very repetible. And another critical thing and aspect about this game is due to its lack of replayability. After you complete the game, there's nothing else to do. On one hand, this game does not outstay its welcome, but you wish that the game had more to offer. and I've got to say they did not do David Hasselhoff and the Knight Rider franchise justice. It was a huge disappointment, but that's my personal opinion. However, if you are an 80s kid and a fan of PS2 games, this game is definitely for you, and that is game number 321, Knight Rider the game. Right, guys, so on to the next game, game number 322. And guys, if you like anime like myself, this game is definitely up your alley, and that is Full Metal Alchemist 2, The Curse of the Crimson Elixir. And I've got to say right now, this game unfortunately did not make it into Europe. It was only released in Japan as well as North America. And guys, I've got to say right off the bat, when it comes to anime, in my opinion, I think Full Metal Alchemist is up there with the greatest animes of all time. The storytelling, the animations, absolutely fantastic, timeless, and again, there's so much praise for this anime. I wished it got a re-release with updated animation, but however, I never played this game. Unfortunately, I don't have a Japanese PS2. One day, hopefully, I will get an imported Japanese PS2 console. And guys from North America, if you have played this game, is this game worth it? Is this game fun to play? I know it's an action adventure game. I've seen the gameplay. It looks a bit decent, but not as great as the Dragon Ball Z game. I think Dragon Ball Z Budokai is arguably the greatest anime game of all time. Anime games have always been a mixed bag, to be honest. Sometimes you get a good anime game, and majority of the time you get some absolute stinkers. I just hope that the developers of this game give the Full Metal Alchemist franchise the justice that it deserves. And guys, if you've not tried this, please do, because I'm a huge fan of anime. If you're a fan of anime, you've got to give this a go. And guys, that's game number 322, the Japanese and North American exclusive Full Metal Alchemist 2, The Curse of the Crimson Elixir. The next game and final game of this video, and this game is I think it's the most controversial game ever released, and at the time this game stirred a lot of emotion from the media. It was criticized for the brutality, and that is game number 323, the controversial Manhunt. And I've got to say right off the bat, I never played this game. Never played it, because I've got to say I was like a 10-year-old kid. I would look at the front cover like, why would you want to play this game? And it was 18, and selling it, you have to show ID, and unfortunately I was very young at the time and I never got the chance to play it. However, I did watch my cousin play this game, and I've got to say this game was really well designed. The stealth element was underrated. I like the fact that the way you can kill in many different variations. This game was absolutely brutal, and the story was dark as hell, man. It was controversial. I've got to say it is controversial, but now this game will not get the backlash like it did back then, because we never got games this controversial at the time. And guys, even though despite it being criticized by the media, it was also banned in certain countries. Its sequel got banned in majority of countries. Back to that later. But this game, I've got to say, despite it being banned in countries like Australia, New Zealand and many European countries, it did really well, and it got a very well received acclaim from media outlets, from game magazines, things like that. And it turned out to be a very successful, but due to its controversy, after its sequel, it disappeared. The Manhunt franchise only became a 2-game thing, and it remained on the PS2, never to be seen again. Will there be a Manhunt 3, or dare I say, will there be a remaster? Trust me, a remaster of this game is needed. Imagine this game with GTA graphics, and this is what I mean. Rockstar back in the day, with different IPs. They always got it right. Smugglers Run, the Bully franchise. Rockstar are always geniuses at storytelling, but now Rockstar always focus on two franchises. I don't blame them. Red Dead Redemption and GTA, because they make money, and why would you want to focus on anything else? Focus on what makes money. It's an excellent business decision. However, if they expanded their IPs and got or hired game developers to make different games for different genres, actually Rockstar taking over the gaming landscape. But however, they do not have the resources, and they always focus on what makes them successful. But I'd love to see Manhunt 3 one day. And guys, if you've not played Manhunt, what are you waiting for? Give it a go. If you do enjoy stealth, and if you do enjoy a very dark humor and dark toned game, Manhunt is as controversial as it gets. What a game. So just before we end this video, I want to share what I bought from the Sheffield gaming market. And to start off, I had to get this, and that is the official PS2 holder. So this is designed to hold the PS2 in the standing position, and I've got to say, to find this in absolute good condition is very hard to find, and £50 was absolutely worth it. Just look at the back, just to let you know that it's official. And yeah, so I picked this up, and when I first saw this, it brought back loads of memory, and that was the official magazine Games Master. And if whoever remembers this, look at the nostalgia on this, man. Look at the adverts, and guys, it just brings back the good old year of 2004. What a year that was for gaming, and I had to pick this up. I want to see what came out, and you never know what games that I may have missed. Look at the artwork, look at the Smart Items of Paint guide, how to create characters, the posters. It was an absolute brilliant time for gaming, and something that I really miss a lot, because you don't get magazines anymore. And it's a tremendous shame, because now we get all this Twitter news and Nintendo Directs and PlayStation Showcase, and yeah, it's just not the same. I miss the good old days of good old fashioned magazines. And the next item I want to show, I had to buy it, and that is the PS2 multi-tap. Back in the day, the PS2 only had two ports, player 1 and player 2, but with the multi-tap it allowed you to play up to 5 players. So I'm getting this and playing Smackdown Here Comes the Pain. It was absolute mayhem. You had to get 5 controllers. To even get 5 controllers was tough. Imagine how much money 5 controllers as well as this cost. You're talking about above £200 back then. But now the multi-tap is a collectible, because there was very rarely sold in markets. I don't understand why, but it was a very limited release. I wish it came in its official package, but in good condition for £20, I can't argue whatsoever. And I'm gonna play with my bros and go back to playing Smarter Here Comes the Pain for unfinished business. And guess what, guys, I still have the world record on Smarter Here Comes the Pain Royal Rumble. Never gonna be beaten, that's my personal opinion. And the final item I had to get is a console, and I just had to get it, and that is the backwards compatible with PS1, with PS2 and PS3 games, the 60 gig PS2. And this, trust me guys, is the heaviest PS3 of the lot, and I paid an eye-watering £170 for this bad boy, and trust me guys, it's absolutely worth it. Imagine a console that plays 3 console generation of games. You're talking about PS1 games, PS2 games, as well as PS3 games. And despite it being expensive and it's very hard to find, I spoke to the gentleman that sold me this, and he tells me finding a very good condition 60 gig PS3 is absolutely unheard of. This was a must buy. I had to buy it. I want to buy some PS2 games, but when this comes along, you just have to buy it and add it to my personal collection. And guys, Sheffield was an amazing experience, one of the greatest markets that I've ever been. I'm gonna go there hopefully next year. Have to go and get some more PS2 gems. So guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you want to see more content like this, please subscribe. If you want to know when my channel comes online, please click on the bell notification below. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the episode. Until next time.